Metabolic meal timing has quickly become one of the most talked about trends in wellness culture, driven by the idea that when you eat may matter almost as much as what you eat. Influencers frame it as a science backed method to balance hormones, improve metabolism, optimize sleep, and even support weight management. The trend centers on aligning eating patterns with the body's natural circadian rhythm, eating earlier in the day, front loading calories before noon, avoiding late night meals, and spacing meals consistently. On the surface, chrononutrition research does provide interesting evidence that the body processes food differently across the 24-hour cycle. But the way this trend is presented online oversimplifies the science, ignores huge individual differences, and risks creating rigid rules that can cause more stress and harm than benefit. Proponents latch onto studies showing that insulin sensitivity tends to be higher in the morning and that eating late can impair glucose control, digestion, and sleep. This leads to the core message: eat early, eat big, and stop eating after sunset. Some people report more stable energy, easier weight control, and fewer nighttime cravings when they adopt these patterns. Athletes sometimes benefit from earlier meals because glycogen replenishment aligns better with daytime training. And people with mild metabolic issues may genuinely feel improvements when they shift calories away from the late evening, since heavy nighttime eating can contribute to reflux, restless sleep, and erratic blood sugar. But despite these potential upsides, the trend often exaggerates the power of meal timing, turning a nuanced area of research into a rigid set of rules that can feel impossible for many people to live by. Job schedules, family responsibilities, school, shift work, and cultural eating patterns make perfect circadian alignment unrealistic. For someone working late evenings or juggling caregiving duties, early dinners or large morning meals may be stressful, unsustainable, or simply impractical. Yet, online messaging tends to shame late eaters, implying that any deviation from the correct schedule is a metabolic disaster, creating unnecessary guilt around a normal, flexible aspect of life. There are also physiological realities the trend tends to ignore. Not everyone feels hungry in the morning, and forcing large breakfasts can actually destabilize appetite or digestion for some individuals. People with IBS, reflux, or slow emptying issues may struggle with front-loading calories early in the day. Others feel nauseated or heavy after eating too much too early. And while some studies show improvements in metabolic markers with early time-restricted eating, others show minimal or no difference compared to simply maintaining a consistent calorie intake and improving food quality. In other words, the benefits are not as universal or dramatic as TikTok claims. Perhaps the most concerning aspect is how easily metabolic meal timing can feed into obsessive eating behaviors. Turning meals into a performance of discipline, tracking hours, spacing food perfectly, avoiding social dinners, watching clocks, can create stress that outweighs any small metabolic advantage. Teens and young adults, who are particularly vulnerable to wellness-driven perfectionism, may interpret these rules as moral obligations rather than gentle guidelines. For those with a history of disordered eating, restricting nighttime meals or imposing tight windows can trigger relapse or reinforce harmful mindsets about earning or timing food. The trend is often marketed as a holistic alternative to dieting, but in practice, it can become a diet with a new name and a scientific gloss. Another overlooked issue is the misunderstanding of circadian biology itself. Circadian cycles vary between individuals. Night owls, early birds, shift workers, people with sleep disorders, and those with hormonal imbalances experience different metabolic peaks and troughs. Imposing a generic schedule assumes everyone's internal clock is identical. And while chronic late-night overeating is not ideal, moderate nighttime eating in a balanced diet is not inherently harmful. Demonizing evening meals, especially in cultures where family dinners happen late, erases the importance of social connection, flexibility, and emotional well-being. Even chrononutrition researchers warn that the field is still evolving, and most studies are small, short-term, and conducted under controlled conditions that don't reflect real life. The wellness industry takes these emerging findings and converts them into strict commandments, overstating their relevance while ignoring that overall diet quality, sleep duration, activity level, and stress reduction have a far larger impact on metabolic health than perfect meal timing ever could. In the end, metabolic meal timing highlights the tension between interesting science and wellness hype. Eating earlier and avoiding heavy late-night meals can help some people, but it's far from a universal solution, and the risks of rigidity, guilt, digestive discomfort, and social disruption are rarely acknowledged by those promoting it. The promise of syncing perfectly with your circadian rhythm sounds empowering, but when turned into a lifestyle mandate, it can cause more anxiety and metabolic confusion than stability. The truth is simple but far less flashy. Consistency, balance, and overall dietary quality matter far more than the precise hour you eat.